First of all, you need to be smart and understand your customer, always putting him first. Our consequences are modular systems that allow efficient joint engineering and investments.
Good afternoon. Oh, it's loud now. Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. For those who can't hear me, you use the headset. The headset should be working fine. And is it not working? Should be working, yeah. So you have to turn it on here. Turn it on and then put it on channel 1. Well, welcome to the session on modularization. My name is Joachim Drees. I'm an executive member, and a member of the executive board of TRATON SE, and at the same time, I'm the CEO of MAN Truck and Bus. I would like to invite also Niklas to join me for this session on modularization. Warm welcome to you as well. Thank you very much for joining me today. And of course, later on we have Helmut Schweighofer here from the DB Schenker CEO, and we're really proud to have you here. Thank you very much that you take all this time and this day to join us here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I will be happy to help out as much as I can about modularization, and let's start the show.
Yes, we start. And for us, it's the third time today, so it feels a bit like Groundhog Day. And it's raining outside. So this session is about modularization and some really impressive examples what it means for TRATON and our customers. I think first of all you should ask yourselves, why do you do modularization? Because only if it makes sense it's something you should pursue. And we believe it's the smartest and the most customer-oriented method to build trucks and buses, and to build the trucks and buses which we want, which our customer wants, and which we want to deliver to our customer. So from our point of view, it's a clear win-win situation for both customers and for the TRATON brands. We can bring the better products, faster availability. I think we can make sure that they're actually tested in a better way, because modules can be tested individually and then can be reused. The customization, of course, is a big effect, and then cost effectiveness for all parties involved. So it's the right truck for the right application for our customer, which should bring more profit to our customer and should bring competitive advantage to TRATON as a group. And after all, of course, it's all about also synergies and partnership with our suppliers, which we can then use in an entirely different way when we think of our modules. So we also know that modularization is not entirely new topic, Niklas, as we discussed it earlier. And of course, we have two of the most successful brands in TRATON with Scania and MAN in Europe.
We do.
And of course, everybody was thinking about modularization earlier. And so we have two ways of looking at modularization today: at Scania with the Büchlader, and at MAN with the MAN Baukasten. And I'm happy to hear more from you now about what this means.
Yes. So I will start with the Scania Bygglådan, which is called in Swedish. It's actually started at Scania around the 1930s, where the modularization was established. And it's all about building trucks with a limited number of parts, optimizing and making the truck specialized for just that application. That's what modularization is all about. And Scania uses 3 principles to do this, which is now becoming the TRATON principles together with the MAN input. But it starts with having standardized interfaces. And standardized interfaces is, to simply put it, making sure that all the modules and parts fits together. That's the key. Then you can leverage so much more. And interfaces are, of course, not only the physical parts. It's also the software and the theory behind all the interfaces that becomes the definition of an interface. The other one is well-balanced performance steps. And that's all about making sure that we have the right number of parts, preferable the lowest number of parts, to maximize the number of variants we want to sell to our customers. You following? And the third one is, of course, same need, identical solution. And therefore, and there we actually talk about standardization. There we want to make one part that fits the same need and not make similar parts that fits the same need. So we actually want to make identical parts for that. And the key is to figure out how many performance steps you need on that component or system to suit all the customers we are trying to sell to.
Yeah, that's thanks, Niklas. I think it's very good that you kind of describe what is the Big Lada all about. I don't want to go into depth for the MAN side. I just want to explain that we laid at MAN the foundation for our modular system almost 30 years ago, so not quite 80.
No, but a long time.
But a long time ago. And we introduced at the time an advanced modular parts list, which allowed actually this modular kit to exist. And we believe now for the future, we brought this modular kit on a new level, on the next level, actually on in TRATON, but also, of course, then with the positive effect on MAN. And I will talk about this, what I believe, what the new level is, in a bit. A true highlight, which I mentioned before, is coming up, which actually describes part of the work there.
And you will come into that, but modularization is not only for engineers to design parts. It has a huge impact on our procurement, our production, and our way to service our vehicles. So if I produce and design a part in Brazil, for example, it's easy applicable to transfer that over to Europe and assemble it on the vehicle lines we have here in Europe, and vice versa. So the brands are already modular, but with different interpretations. But what makes TRATON unique is, of course, that we are combining all the expertise from the different brands at MAN and at Scania, and together with the leadership from the two brands, we are truly creating a truly TRATON modular approach to tackle the future. And the interface thinking we have is, of course, to protect those interfaces for upcoming facelifts and upcoming customer requirements. And if we move to next slide, connecting to what Christian Levin said, what you see here in the picture, which he also brought up, is that this is the new common base engine for the group. It's a new 13-liter engine, which is targeting the main segment both Scania and MAN has. It is truly modular because 80% of that engine is common. And 20% of the engine is made of parts and designs, so we keep the brand uniqueness for the different unique applications that the brands have. And this engine, together with the transmission, will see light and start to be seen in the end of 2020 and launched at Scania during the beginning of 21, and then going further on to MAN, of course, and Volkswagen Ônibus. What more? Yeah, one more important thing to say about the engine is that if you look on modularization and its importance for business, is that 25% of this engine or of a vehicle's cost is connected to the engine. So if commercial vehicle costs 100%, the engine stands for 25% of that cost. So it's truly important for us to be harmonized on that type of platform.
Yeah, I think it's a very good example for modular system where we have 80% of same parts and only 20% is brand individual, and we can still separate the brands by characteristics. So, of course, internal combustion engines will play a major role in the 13-liter segment anyways, because it is the big volume segment which we have today, yes. And we believe that this is, of course, something which will stay. And of course, efficiency is also absolute key here. But we also believe that part of the future will be electric. And so I think we have another very good example where we start really from scratch actually a year ago about our common e-drivetrain. So what did we do there in order to come up with a modular approach for this e-drivetrain? We said, first of all, let's map our customer demands and identify the use cases for each of the brands for the e-drivetrain. And then we said, based on those use cases, we defined e-propulsion performance steps. So kind of like we translated customer requirements coming from the market into technical requirements for the performance of the e-propulsion system. And now we develop an e-drive modular kit for the whole TRATON Group, which is then available to all brands to use it. Right now in the e-mobility, you can see some smaller pilots out in each of the brands. As for example, the MAN eTGM, you can actually drive here, or you can sit in and drive with it. And if you look at our current planning at MAN, is what we foresee for the e-drive. We will bring out now a small series of the eTGM for the next years to come, and then we are really looking into having the first edition by late 2023 with this common platform on e-propulsion by the end of 23 in our MAN e-truck, and by 2024 we will have our series truck based on this particular technology. So we're kind of moving the technology on one platform. So, ladies and gentlemen, we highlighted some of the great potential of modularization just with two examples, one with more conventional technology, but with a great engine, and one more with the e-drive, but it shows what potential we have in the group. But the big question is, and that's where I would like to ask Helmut on stage, is what does it all mean, modularization, what does this all mean for the customer? And I would like to introduce Helmut Schweighofer, the CEO of Schenker Region Europe. We have been meeting quite a few times now. Really happy that you're here. So what is your view as a customer, and what do you give us on the way for the future?
Joachim, first of all, many thanks for having me here. Very proud to support you here, giving also my opinion. And of course, being in a quite a tough industry, where margins are low, if you really want to come up in the end of the day as the winner and to succeed, you have to develop and deliver to the customers best-in-class solution. And best-in-class solution is one part of the whole story. The other part of the story is TCO, total cost of ownership. And in other words, very simple, what I mentioned already on stage, what we recommend from your side, from our suppliers, and especially from the car producer side, is very cost efficient and very reliable products and trucks.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, obviously, we know that the logistics industry is a tough industry. It's a lot of competition, but of course, you with Schenker, you are one of the market leaders. So, I mean, for you, it's I mean, you're really good in what you do. So, of course, we listen very carefully to what you have to say. So, I think we believe it's key to not only offer the products, but also the services to our customer, and we, of course, need to keep them above all. We need to keep you profitable. I mean, we have to do our share that you can actually stay profitable. We believe that modularization is actually an important part of it. And I would like to give you now an example on our new truck generation, which I mentioned several times. This new truck generation will provide an even more customer-oriented way of how to sell the product. In this case, we call it guided selling. Guided selling will actually be the next level on customer orientation. It will be actually the right product from start. So it's all about an application-based configuration right from the start. Our customers, or how I like to call our customers, more like our partners, because that's why I think how it should be, have a specific transport job to do, and they are very different, the transport jobs. So it's important that we, on the other hand, actually do offer the right product from scratch. How do we do this in the future? It's completely different than we do it today. Our sales reps will now have a guided interview along various dimensions and criteria in the configurator, and then we get a recommendation from the configurator depending on the customer needs. The customer needs could be a truck trailer unit versus, of course, an articulated train, or it has to be, could depend on the topography you're going. I mean, sometimes you go more in the Netherlands where it's more flattish, or you go through the Alps where you have a hilly area. Or the road condition, of course, is a very basic difference when it's asphalt versus off-road. And of course, engine power. Maybe you don't want to have too much engine power, in particular when it's flat, because then the driver's going too fast. Or the question is also the driver's cab. Do you want to have a large cab or a small cab? What is the task to fulfill? So we believe with this guided selling and with this approach, we can actually deliver for each customer from scratch the right products they need, basically based on modules which we have in our configurator. So the biggest benefit then is the right product, the right configuration, and of course a good result is also that we will be much faster in the future to actually offer you the right vehicle, and you don't have to wait for days or so until you get an answer, or your people who are working for you get an answer. So we believe that this is, again, looking into modularization and this guided selling, we believe this is a complete mind and methodology shift for MAN to turn into even more market and customer-centric company and portfolio, which we would like to offer to you. And I hope this is something you will, at the end, then experience as something positive.
Configuration sounds great, and of course we know that also when we are buying a car, privately. But you know me, I have to demand and I have to be challenging you guys, because then you can improve, and of course, coming up with the best products. I would phrase our demand into 3 dimensions: sustainability, simplicity, and definitely flexibility. And sustainability, we have the high group targets. We want to reduce our CO2 footprint by 50% up to 2030. That's quite a number. So we need the OEMs, we need you with sustainable products that we are also able to help our customers, our clients, to come up with green solutions. Second, I think also an interesting one, simplicity first. Simplicity in the meaning of, we are not the ones who like to run cars. We are not the ones who like to have workshops. We are the ones who would like to really focus on our core business, and that's providing logistics and transport solutions. So there we need also you with a full set of services that we can really rely on rely on a very successful partner, and focus on our core business. Flexibility, we all know the VUCA world, and the volatility we are facing, and this will not go away. This will definitely also increase, and there we need to somehow balance that. Also a full service provider who sources us and supplies us with capacity, maybe on a rent basis. Maybe this is also something you can focus on in the future. You could service us.
I think, looking at the business model is certainly something we need to spend more time on. But when I come back to your other topics on reduction of CO2, and of course the question around giving you the right product, I think what we have achieved now also with our new MAN product is that we can theoretically configure 600 to 700 million configuration differences. So it's a vast environment. Of course, by that we have achieved this by reducing the number of parts by 20% and by increasing the variance by 10% versus the old one. Now, important to me is, and of course you said reliability is one of your key issues, and CO2 reduction is one of the key issues. We believe that by reworking our modular kit structure, we actually can provide you a very reliable truck, because we have to do less testing with less parts. So the parts we have, and we can combine them in a different way. They still do in a combination than the job you are asking us to do, but we can do this with a lot less testing, because actually we can reuse components, and we can also use the same components for different applications. And of course, when it comes to CO2, it's all about what you saw, the new engine and the new electric powertrain, again, in a modular way, developed by TRATON together for all of our applications, so that at least we can provide you with the most efficient powertrain. It may be in traditional, conventional powertrain, or may it be with e-components, where also, again, reliability is something we need to make sure you have it, because otherwise you will not be happy with us. Now, again, we believe that modularization and also the way we've done it in our new TG, which comes out soon, I can talk about it later, we believe we have the right basis for that, and I'm convinced that we can then also look at the business models where you ask us to do part maybe of the job you have to do today. I think this is actually a great way forward, and by the way, I really would like to take this to the next step, so we can discuss this, how we could actually achieve that.
Yeah, looking very much forward to that. I think a very interesting topic, and also a good chance to increase our partnership and alliance.
That sounds like a very, very good thing. Well, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on modularization, but also on customer needs. Thank you very much. Give a big applause to Mr. Schweighofer. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been mentioning, or I have been mentioning at several stages over the last 1.5 days, the new MAN truck generation. I think we can rightfully say that we had, over the last 20 years, been very successful with our current technology generation, our existing TG range. But it's also an open secret that we are in the final stages to launch our new TG beginning of the year, and I think Frederick and his team, and of course the sales side of the team, is in the final stages of preparing everything together then also with our production colleagues to make sure that we can actually launch the product then. I think it's important to mention that this will not only be a new truck generation. It comes with a complete transformation of MAN as a company. When we talk about sales processes, we saw already the configurator, which is a completely different way of selling to our customer. We also talk about integrated pricing, which means we have a complete offering, including, of course, leasing offering, including the repair maintenance, which, of course, you want us to do, but even more maybe to take some of the work over, which you have mentioned, Helmut. So also from sales processes will be different. The engineering processes, the whole documentation system in MAN has been completely turned over and renewed. And then finally, of course, also our production and logistic processes will change drastically with the new MAN truck generation. The new truck generation, which is for me most important, has been developed closely together with our customers. And of course, the goal is, when we come out with such a new generation, is to simplify the business of our customer. This is what is at the core of our brand, is simplifying business, making the business of our customers more successful, and take our responsibility to make your business a better and more profitable business. But let's listen to what the MAN team has to say about the new MAN truck generation.
This is a game changer. More customer options, less parts. Simplifying business, that's what MAN stands for.
There's different countries where you have different needs and different specifications for your trucks.
And you have to prepare for those different requirements.
The better we understand our customer needs, the more our truck offers to our customers.
We invited our customers and discussed with a core group how the new truck should look like.
Our new product portfolio is tailored to the customer needs and also to our future customer needs.
The new TG that we have will be the best product that we ever had.
Just imagine the customer who sits then in our new truck generation and he experiences and he says, hey, that's the thing that I wanted to have in my truck, and now they did it.
We have completely revolutionized the sales process. I think it will sell like hell. And on the other hand, the drivers will also love it, and that makes me really happy.
It's the greatest MAN truck of all times.
So you can see that we have a very excited team. Everybody is very convinced, and I'm also excited. We are happy to see, of course, many of you at our launch at February 10 next year in Bilbao. We believe that we have today already a very good product with very good TCO, and we will further improve this. So this will give us as a company also a better profitability on our truck, because this truck will provide our customers also with better TCO. So this will be a win-win situation between us and the customers. At the same time, for the next year and a half, you can still buy actually our existing TG, which is a super reliable, most reliable truck in the industry. Looking in the future of truck business, e-mobility, automation and digitalization with new business models will be key. And for that, the new MAN TG is developed as a fully digital truck. So it's ready for the future. And the heart of our new truck is our new EE architecture, something you may not be able to feel and touch, but which you will feel when it comes to scalability. It's open for our customers, third-party software. It's future-proven for e-mobility, automation, and digitization. And of course, it is fully and always connected. And as we say always in TRATON, always on. And at the end, our new MAN truck generation is a true integrated transport solution. And when I listen to Helmut, what he is requesting us to do, I think this is what we have to deliver to the customer. And this is really where I would like to deepen our conversation on. So if you want to learn more about the details, you must have already listened to Henrik, because it's the last session now. He was talking about software and systems and what you can achieve with software and systems in combination, of course, with what we are talking about here, modularization. So from that, I would like to turn it over to you, Niklas.
Oh. Yes, so you have heard about the MAN Barkasten and the Scania Bygglådan, two systems that have proven over many years how powerful advanced modularization can be for two brands. And now by combining them together, the future for the two brands or for the group in TRATON is enormous, and the leverage will happen. And if I look on overall some bullet points, what we already have achieved, we currently have a common language within TRATON on how to think around modularization. We have our principles for modularization. We also have our standardized interfaces, which enable us to actually take decisions, just to enable low entry for different components, but also to leverage all the testing and validation Mr. Andreas spoke about. And the next thing is that we also have the opportunity to decide which systems or what modules or what components must be and shall be common, and which absolutely should not be common. So we can keep the brand unique selling point for the two brands in the group. And we also, by doing that, secure each brand's identity, which I think is really, really important.
Now, this is key, obviously, but the great thing is modularization, as we spoke about it, is actually just the beginning. So, as I said earlier, for me, we can do a lot more, and here the sky is the limit, so to say. The modular system allows efficient and, most importantly, joint engineering, and of course efficient joint investments on how to invest in which technology. And of course this is not only within our group, but also with our alliance partners, Hino and Navistar. We have built these smart alliances in order to leverage exactly our modular system, and that's why it's so important that within TRATON we have agreed on this modular approach, and we can use this modular approach with our customers, with our partners in our TRATON universe, so to say. So you will see in the future probably transmission, powertrains, alternative drivetrains, e-drivetrains, based on the best modular system, we believe, which is available. And this is also available to the group, but not only to the group, but also to our strategic alliance partners. We believe this creates truly a win-win situation for TRATON, for TRATON's brands, and of course for our alliance partners. So I think it's a great topic. I thank you very much for your attention today. It's been a long day with a lot of information, I believe. And I'm happy to take, or we are happy to take questions so far, if there are any left. Thank you very much.
Some hard questions.
Are there any questions from the audience for the gentleman?
There you have one over there.
Thank you for your presentation. For the new engine, is there a horsepower rating for it yet? And is there an alternative fuels for LNG, CNG options on? Thank you.
Do you want to answer this?
I think that the honest way is to say we want to save something for the press release. But of course, the engine is going to be modular regarding alternative fuels.
Yeah. And modular to horsepower ratings.
And a number of horsepower ratings too.
Yeah.
But I'm saving that candy for a bit later.
My question, do you will have modularization also in terms of cabs?
No, when we look at so we have a starting point today, yeah? And so what we do is basically we go with modularization by value of parts, yeah? Or of modules. So obvious one was the engine, the transmission, the axle, yeah? The after treatment is hugely important, yeah, to modularize this one. And then of course we also go into chassis components, for example the braking system. Can we modularize this because it's also big value in money? But also when it comes to the cab, in particular when it comes to the human-machine interface, which is of course something where we can think about modularization. And then in the end, if you go in the future to autonomous, that you partially modularize the software stack. Again, in a way that we have brand-specific applications, because also our brands have different strengths, customer strengths. So it's so important that we can use the base modules to then apply to wherever we have our big customer, the biggest customer groups. So it's not a pure cab modularization, but it is about certain components where it makes sense. Again, it's a question where do you put your money, where you get the greatest bang for the buck. That is what it's all about.
We have time for one more question, if you want. Then I'd like to thank you for your interest and attention. Closing remarks from you?
Yeah, I would like to thank Helmut Schweighofer again very, very much. It was great having you here. I'm very proud, and I want to thank all of you that you came here. Have a nice trip back to wherever you have to go back to. A safe journey, and look forward to seeing you soon again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Are now more real than ever. We are facing the challenge to make all these systems cooperate smoothly, and we are pretty good at it.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had a good lunch, and welcome then to the software and system station. My name, let's see, do you all use the channel 2? Is that working? Okay, good. So you hear me, and good. That means also that you will be able to hear each other later on the Q&A as well. So my name is Henrik Henriksson. I'm the CEO of Scania, and I'm also one of the board management members of TRATON Group. And at Scania, we have a purpose as a company to drive the shift towards a more sustainable transport system. It is a purpose that is deeply rooted into our values, to the DNA of our company. And it's something that we believe is going to be important for the future to stay relevant as a company. We want to drive the transformation to a more sustainable transport system. And one of the driving forces to be able to do this is, of course, to work with innovations. Innovations as presented today at the Scania Innovation Day. And talking about innovation, the backdrop behind me is this vehicle. It is the brand new Scania NXT. This is a vehicle that is really personifying innovation. And the uniqueness with this vehicle is actually the flexibility that it provides. And I would like you to put your attention to the screen here, where we can sort of share and we can show how the flexibility of this vehicle is used in a city. So it's basically a vehicle that can move people during the day in the rush hours. They can then use the same carriers, the same drive units, and the same technology platform to put on a body for cargo or for waste and recycling. So a vehicle platform that can do 3 different tasks, but within the same platform. And that creates, of course, flexibility. We believe that sometime in the future, mayors of cities will not allow too many different kinds of vehicles coming in uncontrolled into the cities. Of course, this is a vehicle also that has an electrical platform. It is a fully electric vehicle. As you can see, it's fully autonomous. It doesn't have a driver place. And of course, it's designed to be the future of mobility in the cities and attract, like Daniel will come into later on, people to park the car and go into the bus. This vehicle is also around just over 8 meters long, but it has the same passenger capacity as a 12-meter vehicle because of the unique layout of the vehicle. Robert, who's standing over here, is the father of this project. So if you have more details, questions, please talk to him. But this vehicle is not only hardware. I would say that most of the effort we put into Robert and Klaus, who's sitting here as well, head of R&D at Scania, in the work of this vehicle is software. It's software and systems, which is the name of this station. And to help me in this, I have Joachim Jimholt, who will join me now, who is the head of electrics and software at the CTO office here in Södertälje. So welcome.
Thank you, Henrik. I'm pleased to be here together with Henrik and present this station to you. I will guide you through this one, and I particularly look forward to the questions that we will get in the end of this session.
Good. Thank you, Joachim, for joining me. So Joachim, head of electrics and software. So talking about electrics and software and systems then, so if we try to describe why is this important for innovation and why it is important for a group like TRATON. Yes, of course, this is about, in the broader perspective, the digitalization of the transport system as such. Digitalization will probably be the most powerful tool with software and systems as an enabler to transform, to create a more sufficient, a more efficient and a more sustainable transport system for the globe. But it's also something that we build into the products. Today, software and systems is the majority of products, not only on vehicles like the NXT here, but also on the so-called normal trucks that you will be able to test drive later on today. We put in a lot of effort into the platforms around software and systems in these vehicles. And the amount of PC computer power that there is in a normal truck today is much more than you could ever imagine. It's of course something we embed also in the services. It is the software and system side, very much because today we bundle products and services. We don't sell a vehicle per se. We sell a cost per kilometer, which is a solution where products and services are bundled. We used, of course, the systems and software also in the development to help ourselves to develop products in R&D, and we use it also in our production. So you can say in our industrial system. We have a few kilometers away from here, we have Scania's Smart Factory Lab, where we are testing new technology in our real operation, where we are assembling the final assembly of our vehicles. Things like how do we work next to robots side by side? How do we work with AGVs that are moving around in the factory without drivers and so on? New technology are tested. And of course, all of this is depending on software and system. So you can say that it is an enabler for us for innovation, but it's also something that's built into our product offering to our customer, our value proposition, and the way we work. Data is of course also important here. We need to collect data, we need to use the data in the way to provide and build the software, of course, but also to build real application. That's where we create the customer value. Today, in the TRATON Group, roughly 50% of our development efforts goes into software and solutions. So it's a majority of our effort. And around 30%, that was mentioned before, of our R&D engineers are working with software development. I was mentioning before that a few years ago we had a tough competition in this sector to attract people, especially with other competitors like Amazon, Apple, Google, and so on. But today, I think you would agree with me, Joachim,
Yes,
it's a different situation where autonomous vehicles, for example, is an attraction for engineers to come and join us. So today it's actually much better, and we have some super talent in our companies today. We're going to talk more about this later on. But Joachim, over to you then.
As you said, the new technologies really attracts people to come to us, which is, of course, very important if we're going to be able to deliver. Talking about these technologies, we often talk about the ACE technologies, the autonomous, connected, and electrified. And one of the main fields here for software system is, of course, connectivity as such. And the more complicated and sophisticated our system becomes in this area, the more possibilities arise to drive truly smart transport solutions together with our customers to kind of a new level, to be honest. Connectivity as such, if you look at that specific domain, it's kind of part of the history. I mean, we have had connected units for quite a long time in our vehicles, collecting the data that we are now using to build even better products. But it's a fundament.
We have around 900,000 vehicles now in the larger group of TRATON that are connected.
That's connected at the moment. And that creates, of course, a lot of valuable data for the customer itself, but also for us. And so this connectivity part is really a fundament. And it's also an enabler for the future for even more exciting innovations like the autonomous vehicles. But connectivity is a fundamental part of being able to do a true and good autonomous vehicle. And talking about autonomy, of course, as a group, we are right now developing a common autonomous platform, a scalable platform that will be used through all of our brands together. Our focus here is, as we have already said, it's what we refer to as a SAE level 4, which then would mean then a driverless vehicle with certain constraints. That is, it will not be a free running vehicle running anywhere, but it will have some constraints. We are talking about mines. Harbors, some point-to-point connections on highways, etc. And this platform that we are now designing consists of a lot of advanced sensors, as you can see on this vehicle and the vehicle outside. Actuators, they are not that easy to spot maybe. Control units and software in multiple layers. And again, that's enormous, to be honest. That's by far the most advanced systems that we will ever put in our, so far at least, has put in a vehicle. I should not say ever, because I don't know that, I can't say that, but so far put in a vehicle. And it's a truly enormous development effort from our side. And due to this effort that we have ahead of us, we see need for a new kind of partners. But of course, partners are important, but also we have the resources in the group which can bundle and solve this case.
Together.
Yes. Yeah. So you mentioned that already about our effort that we're spending here, and if you go more deeply into autonomy, we can see that we have like more than 400 people at the moment working in this area within the group. And Henrik, we talked about this earlier, that 400 might not seem that many.
No, but of course this is a real statement of a powerhouse. I mean, if you look at some of the California-based companies working with this, and you look at how many people are working specifically in this autonomous area, this is a very high number.
And there's twice as many as many other companies in this area. So this is a true challenge, and also we're spending resources here. We also, to be able to gain efficiency from these teams working now, a lot of people, we need to work according to new development methods and to reach the market in time and fulfill the customer needs, of course. So again, agile has been mentioned today, but we also have to scale that one. So we get a more scale agile way of working, focusing then on dedicated customer initiatives. We have mentioned that, and that's why we had the customers here today. And we have to be driven by their needs and their expectations, and that's why we want to involve them here. We want to learn and gain knowledge together with our customer as soon as possible. So the plan now is to have a platform for the group able to be ready to operate in what we say then hub-to-hub mode, a level 4 use case, on the market at latest by 2024. That is the on-road part. But of course, we are already right now have prototype systems running on confined environments like salt mines, Australia, and so on. So that's also important to gain knowledge together with our customers.
Exactly. So this is sort of more a scalable platform, but already today we have use cases. And some of you might remember or been part of a demonstration here at Scania or participated 2 years ago in the Innovation Day for TRATON in Hamburg. We talked about these vehicles going to Rio Tinto for a salt mine in Australia, where these ones are in sort of real-life customer operation as we speak. And that is, of course, a vehicle built on the conventional vehicle with sensors and so on, but still with a cab on the vehicle. Where we are today is different. And I don't know if you've been out already to see the demonstration, but otherwise, here is a teaser of how it looks today. And this is now the new Scania AXL vehicle. As you can see, a vehicle without a cab. A vehicle that is dedicated for mining operation, where you can see it's 4 axles. This is a gross vehicle weight of up to 50 tons that it can carry. And it is a vehicle that is then fully autonomous, designed to operate in mining operation. And why mining? Yeah, like Joachim was saying, we believe that it will come first in sort of dedicated areas. And if you consider how much a driver is costing, for example, in the outback of Australia, it's roughly around 60,000 euro per driver. You need 4 drivers to run a 24/7 operation. Of course, the savings for them, even if we are not at the stage of 2024 where we have a scalable platform, we can still, with sort of development software in industrial PC compute power, we can provide a solution that is suitable for some customers. And that is where a concept like this will come in. This is based on the Scania modular system as well, so you can see the chassis you probably recognize from a normal vehicle, which means also, of course, that we can build different kinds of applications here. We can build 3 axles, 2 axles, we can build longer wheelbase and so on. This vehicle is running on a conventional powertrain, but with capabilities of running on diesel. This is also, of course, a vehicle platform with all the sensors that Joachim was into, LiDAR, radar, cameras, and of course a lot of computing power here, where the cab is usually sitting. That's one platform. But there is also an off-board platform, which is actually let's call it the PC program, that you're sitting in front of the screen and you're giving instructions of where the vehicle should go, and where it should pick up and how it should operate and so on.
Kind of a control tower.
Like a control tower, like a virtual control tower. As you can see, I'm quite proud of this. I hope you will see it and you will be impressed as well. I think we have done a great job on that one. But I think it needs to be experienced in real life. So make sure don't miss the next sort of demonstration, which I think is the bus is leaving at 1:30 outside the tent. So we better be ready for that time. Joachim.
Yes.
This is one piece as we speak, and I think we need to now get it out into sort of customer operation and get the feedback. Is this the right thinking we have? And not only when it comes to the hardware as such, because I think that's fairly easy to change, but it's also the software platforms. Because here we need, of course, to integrate our software platform into, let's take Rio Tinto, for example. They have a big software system for processing plants, for inbound, outbound. It's like a magnificent computer system, and we need to somehow log into that. How do we do that? So I think it's also very much understanding the business model going forward. We will hear more about that from some of our guests.
Yeah.
More examples.
That was one example, and we have other examples, of course. One that you might already have seen is the Hamburg truck pilot, and where we operate a vehicle in Hamburg harbor and a 70-kilometer stretch of the A7 highway to serve as a field testing environment for this project. The aim here is to, in front of the World Congress of Intelligent Transport and Transportation Systems that will take in 2021, we want as a group to test the autonomy and the autonomous system in real use over the next 2 years coming in front of this conference to prepare and to demonstrate what we are doing. The goal here is, of course, to analyze and validate the customer requirements,
Yes.
to understand how this works in the real environment. And in this particular case, of course, it's about the harbor, it's about the container handling processes at a large site. And again, it's about the integration of our products into systems. So it's systems of systems. Another important part here when it comes to autonomy is, of course, things that pushes us in this direction. And we have the things that we have talked about earlier, like this platooning. This is particularly interesting in some markets, not on all markets, but we for sure see that this has implications. We talked about driver shortage and solutions for that. Autonomy is one way of solving that, getting rid of the driver completely. But also in platoons, we can solve part of the problem. So that is important. And a lot has happened the last years. We have had field tests between MAN and Schenker in platoons on the Autobahn, A9 between Nuremberg and Munich. I think that they have traveled about more than 35,000 kilometers over a period of 7 months. And it's been rather successful. We have safety drivers in these vehicles, but the number of interventions that they have to be able to do with the system is rather few, far less than we expected initially. So that has been rather successful. And not only have we demonstrated that it's possible to drive this platoon in an autonomous way, with the safety driver in this case, but also it has demonstrated the potential of a platoon itself, saving the driver, but also saving fuel and energy. In this case, it's diesel or biodiesel, but it can also be other types of energies, of course. So 3% to 4%, 3 to 4% of reduction of fuel has been shown in this case.
Okay, so autonomous requires a couple of things to really happen in reality. One is, of course, that we have technology, that you start to see now our roadmap and where we are heading, that we can do things already today, and we have more scalable platforms around 2024. We need also the legislator to sort of make sure that we have the legislation in place, especially on public roads, and we need the public's acceptance, especially if we operate within cities. However, as you can see, the use cases therefore is where the legislation is not really a necessity, like harbors and mining. But sooner or later, of course, we will see this in the cities. And to help us describe a little bit more about that, I would like to invite up Daniel Molin, who's head of and business manager for Complete Solution from Nobina, to come and join me. And Joachim will be back a little bit later on. So welcome up, Daniel. And let us... We are doing some really interesting things together, not so far away from here. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Some 20 kilometers north of Stockholm, we have the growing city of Barkarbystaden. It's in the suburb of Stockholm, but it's a new, very densely populated area that's growing in the municipality of Järfälla. There will be 40,000 new inhabitants living there, and the population density will be equal to the city center of Stockholm. And historically, we know that public transport is lagging in development, in the city development process. So the bus usually arrives when people already moved in and they bought the car and they found the routines traveling by car. Correct. So here we want to do something different, and the city wants to do something different. So we have a joint cooperation between the county of Stockholm, the municipality of Järfälla and Nobina, where we combine the city development, the public transport planning and new technology into one project where we coordinate and try to make the right solution so we can make people live the life without having to own their own car. And this has started with, a year ago, we started with autonomous shuttles, small vehicles traveling within Barkarbystaden. To my knowledge, the first one in the world with the regular service of automated vehicles on public roads. We will, within a few weeks, launch a digital solution, mobility as a service application, where you can plan and book your trips with public transport, bicycle, car sharing, all different modes of transport you need. Within a year, we will start. We say that we start the metro 6 years ahead of schedule, because in 2026 the metro will be extended to this area, but we bring the metro on rubber wheels 6 years ahead. So it's a BRT system, fully electric, that will mimic the advantages of the metro in terms of reliability and attractiveness. And last but not least, we'll see this Scania on public roads starting end of next year together with Scania. It's fully automated 12-meter city bus.
Yeah, I think this, to my knowledge, will be the first sort of full-size bus that is coming into sort of real operation anywhere in the world. So it's a Scania citywide bus, 12-meter long, low floor, easy access, fully electric, that we're looking forward to sort of deploy it. And of course, you have been part of the development process here together with us. What sort of flows of passengers, because we're talking about a real flow here, isn't it? So how many passengers do you think is coming in?
The plan here is that these two buses will transport about 300 daily commuters to and from this area. And it's from the metro station in Akalla to Barkarbystaden to the railway station in Barkarby. And hopefully we'll see the growing number of passengers and kind of making people attract more people into this. Because as you said, important part of this is getting the public's acceptance to automated vehicles.
Yeah. But how do you see that? I mean, you will. When would, in your operation, when would it start making sense to implement these sort of solution? Is that as soon as possible? I think that's the first question. The second one is that will you take away the driver, or will they be still in the vehicle doing something else, being like a host, because meeting and greeting your customers in a way?
I think that the first kind of value-adding operations of automated vehicles will be within close quarters for us as well, just as mines. But for us, it's at depots, at terminals, where we can let the driver off and let the buses run themselves, where we own the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But the other application, I think, where the public transport will be quite far ahead and early in adopting this technology, is for bus routes where we have infrastructure that is kind of planned for the bus, and we can plan our environment. Private cars have more challenges to take on. But we can plan our business very detailed for a long time ahead, and that will give better circumstances for automated driving.
Yeah, and I think that I think your thinking makes a lot of sense. That I mean, that in a BRT system where you also have a dedicated lane, you have dedicated infrastructure, would probably be the use case of where it comes in first. So, and what about the drivers? Do you think they will have other jobs to do?
Yeah, we think that, first of all, 50% of our drivers is over 50 years old. Our problem today is recruiting drivers.
Oh.
So I think they will, the boring parts, ranging the bus in the depot, in a terminal, we will let the machine handle. But the difficult areas, in a city center, in a crowded street with mixed traffic, we will need our drivers for quite some time, I think.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it's a similar thing also in many of the sort of the truck applications as well. But thank you very much, Daniel. And Daniel will be here for the Q&A as well. So if you have any questions, he will soon be up on stage again. So thank you, Daniel, for helping me out here. Meanwhile, I will bring up Hans on the stage. But before I do that, the bus that you saw in the picture, you will also see in reality standing outside. And actually, talking about buses, we launched that Scania new truck a few years ago. And since it's the same modular system for trucks and buses, we usually, after a while after we launch the truck, comes with a new bus generation. I don't know, it might soon happen. There is a Bus World exhibition in a few days. Maybe you should stay tuned for that one. But now, Hans, my good old friend, coming in here. We usually talk Swedish to each other, so we were going to do that now as well, and then I will translate. But Hans, tell us a little bit about the story of your company.
I'm sorry, I speak only bad English. So better for us all when Henrik translate to English.
Better to speak bad English than dirty English, so that's good.
Företaget 64 år gammalt och samarbetet med Scania har pågått i 60 år.
So the company is 64 years old in Finland, and the cooperation with Scania has been going on for 60 years.
Ja, och jag var själv med och påverka för 60 år sedan att vi blev kunder i Scania.
And he was part 60 years ago of you can't be that. He was very young at that time to make sure that Scania became the prime customer and prime supplier to Ahola.
Jag sa åt pappa när jag såg en Scania L51, sån bil ska vi ha.
He saw that when he saw one of the old-timer Scanias, at that time brand new, LT51, he told his dad, that's what I want to have.
Jo, idag har vi Ahola Transport tre affärssegment, road transport, specialtransport och IT.
Today it's 3 areas. It's road transport, the company, it is special transport, and it's IT. So 3 different business areas, and I think a fleet of around 400 units.
Ja, och största är som sagt det här internationella transporter, road transport.
And the biggest one is international road transport, mainly in Scandinavia, but also quite a big foothold into Eastern Europe.
Ja. Och vi har också utvecklat ett eget affärskoncept mot kunderna som vi kallar för dynamisk logistik, direkt från leverantör till mottagare utan terminalhantering.
And I think the key sort of competitive edge that Ahola is providing is a vad kallar det?
Dynamisk logistik eller direkta transport.
So I think we would translate it into dynamic logistics, which is basically a tailor-made solution. You know, most logistical companies, they work today that they bring in freight from different areas, they consolidate that freight in a warehouse, central warehouse, then they sort of pack it together for new routes. That is quite a lengthy process, and that takes quite long time from the goods to go from A to B. What Hans in his company is doing, that they created a different system which is actually taking it from point to point directly. But of course that requires something.
Varje morgon säger vi att vad har kunderna för behov, vad är resurserna, då får vi en bra mix ihop som motsvarar kundens förväntningar.
Yeah, so this requires then that every morning they're doing a real-time planning of actually what the specific need for their customer base is and where they need to move goods.
Ja, alla de här 450 bilarna är varje sekund tillgänglig för kundernas behov.
And the system is all connected, so basically the 400 vehicles that are on the road are constantly available for the customers to sort of pick up their goods and create a solution.
Ja, på grund av att vi har ett annat koncept än andra så fanns det inte på marknaden något affärssystem som passade för oss, så därför har vi byggt ett eget system.
So since everyone else is operating with a different model, and this is in the beginning of 90s, Ahola was forced to actually develop their own software platform system. And I hope you understand the difference that, I mean, this is quite a unique structure in transport and logistics today, that you actually are so flexible that every morning you can just deploy your whole fleet and you actually go directly from when the customer wants to go to the end station immediately. You don't go through different sort of logistical points.
Så kundernas behov utgör nya rutter varje dag.
So the customer's requirements is completely new routes every day.
Och därför har vi byggt med datat granulerat så vi kan visualisera alla behov i realtid på våra servicetower, kundbehov, resurserna och hur det är sammankopplade.
So basically they connect all the different needs, they break down the data granularly, and also that they had to sort of invest and build this data system themselves to be able to meet this specific customer need. No system was available in the market.
Ja. Och nu har vi sett att det här ATRAX som vi kallar digitala logistikplattformen är skalbart för olika ekosystem.
And now the system turned out to a real product that is called ATRAX, that is sort of like the third pillar of the Ahola group when it comes to the IT. And that system now can be applied into different kinds of parts of the ecosystem of transport and logistics.
Det kan vi göra för att vi har byggt det för oberoende av fraktbärare, oberoende av godstyp.
So it doesn't matter if you're carrying sort of goods on different kinds of vehicle size, or what sort of type of goods it is. It doesn't matter. It works anyway.
Ja, så idag har vi 4 ekosystem: road transport, projekt och special, persontrafik och som förslutna områden.
Yeah, so it's for different kinds of areas where it's included not only goods but also personal traffic and also for closed off areas like a harbor.
Ja. Och det 5:e håller vi på att bygga multimodalt, så att oberoende, det kan vara järnväg, hamn operations, färja och lastbil, allting i en och i realtid allting.
So you can run it actually multimodal, so that includes then shipping of big ferries and also rail and so on. So it's a multimodal system. But I will, Hans is a little bit modest, so I will break in here. I mean, this is a super unique system that has been developed by a company that is a transport company from the beginning, that has an IT department now which is like 10 times the size of a normal transport company. Ahold has become an IT company just as much as a transport company to be able to build this platform. And that platform is of course unique then, and that can be deployed. But it's also that when you visit Hans in Finland and you go into his control room, it is the size of this room here. And it's, I think, 64 meters of screens?
Yeah, 64 meters.
64 meters of screens, that size, where you have everything real time, and there's around 70 people sitting and running the operation real time. I mean, as a customer, if you call and say, I want to have a transport from A to B, and you get it basically the same day, that is a unique selling point, and that is making this company so successful. Hans, I think we need to go into talking about this as well. Yeah.
Vi kan även i realtid visa samma saker åt virtuellt åt våra kunder. Alltså utsläpp och realtid på godset.
Very important. All the data that's real time in the control tower, of course, that can be provided also to the customer.
Ja.
And specific data for specific parcels and for specific loads, then down to the detail of not of course time and cost, but also CO2 emissions that is becoming more and more important.
Ja.
But we're also doing this together. This is truck platooning. And I know that up in northern Finland, you have been running this for quite some time. Can you just briefly tell me what is the reaction from you as the owner of the transport company, and then the reaction from the drivers?
Ja, som ni känner till så är det stor brist på chaufförer i Europa.
Ja.
Och en stor orsak varför det är brist på chaufförer är det att de har inte så bra socialt liv.
Ja. So one of the big challenges in the transport company today is to find drivers, and there is a big shortage in Europe, roughly 50,000 drivers, and the reason is of course that no one wants to be away from the family all the time.
Och lika hos oss som Nobina så är det över 50 år medelålder på chaufförerna.
And just like Nobina, the average age is just increasing. No young people want to come into the profession.
För att kunna locka in yngre personer så tror vi att det här är rätt beslut att vara med i det här projektet.
So to attract young drivers to come into the vehicles and to come into the profession of a driver, these kind of systems is a necessity.
Så chaufförerna som är med i det här är väldigt stolta och intresserade och engagerade i det här projektet.
Ja, och hur mycket bränsle sparar ni ungefär?
Ja.
Vet du det?
Det är mellan 5 och 20%.
Yeah. So the drivers that are part of this system are very proud of it, but also as an owner of the company, of course, running in this operation saves around 5 to 7% fuel.
Om man räknar ihop alla, också första bilen.
If you include everything, including the first truck, which is quite extraordinary.
Ja.
So I think that just shows how the partnership where we are trying to develop technology together as well.
Det som behövs förstås är också andra samarbetspartner, universitet, myndigheter, trafikministeriet, infra, och det här för att kunna koppla ihop någonstans det här. Vi måste ha utrymme att koppla ihop det här platooning också i framtiden.
Ja. So to finish up, what Hans is saying is that, I mean, for this to develop further, we need close cooperation between academia, between policymakers, the ones who owns the infrastructure, and of course the transport company and suppliers of technology. Then we can create this in big scale.
Och Statens vägverk i Norge tog kontakt med oss i fjol och ville ha en test med oss också. Och det gjorde vi, och nästa ska vi göra nästa med dem i mera krävande förhållanden.
Ja. And now Norway, the government of Norway is asking for Ahold to come in and demonstrate.
Ahold and
Scania in northern Finland, northern Norway, where we have snow and icy conditions as well. And I think we can also say that there is requests from Russia as well. So I think good results of what we're doing together. So thank you very much, Hans. And Hans will be here also for questions if you have anything further on during the Q&A. Thank you very much, Hans. So coming back to Joachim, you are coming back as well to join me here on stage, and
yes,
let's let's move over a little bit to close the chapter around autonomous and move over to battery management, which is another area of software and systems.
Yes. So, as we already talked about now, we have talked about autonomous and connected vehicles. Then there's one element left in these ACE technologies, and then we are talking about the electrification part of this. And this is, of course, electrification as such is a key enabler for a more sustainable transport solution. And this is something that the TRATON Group, of course, as you already heard, is focusing on. And one core element then is zero emission. And to do zero emission, we, of course, need the one key enabler is then the electromobility. And it's ranking really high on the TRATON agenda at the moment. So, also in the area of e-mobility, a wide variety of customer demands exists, of course, and to be able to meet these, we need to do one of those common modular toolboxes that we've been talking about. So that's not only valid for the mechanical parts, but battery is a mechanical part as well. But this is something that we are working on at the moment. So, if we talk, maybe then look at this electrification, we break it down to the need and range that we have of our systems. We need batteries, as we see on the screen here, and the batteries have to be managed in the right way so that we can get the range that we need, because range is a thing here. So energy management is something that is really providing the solution for the future. So we take this challenge on as a company or as a group to develop them and to do this and to enable the optimal usage of the energy content of a battery. We need a very intelligent and smart battery management system. And this is, of course, again, a lot of software. It's electronics and it's software.
Yeah, and that is something we're developing in the group, in the TRATON Group, both together in Munich and in Södertälje. And of course, the connected vehicles that we talked about before, all the data that we collected together with our customers that we can use, of course, also to optimize different side of applications in battery management systems.
Connectivity comes into play again.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a loop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So these battery management systems handles the battery then, makes sure that we have the right life length, the optimal use of the battery, so the customer gets the experience that he wants. So it's also dependent then on the customer use case, the driving distance that the customer needs, the climate we are operating in, of course, and the load that we are carrying at that moment. So, and it's not only that, because there's a rather intense development when it comes to battery technologies and different chemistries that are coming onto the market. And to be able to handle this fast-growing area, we need to handle this by our own battery management system. So to handle battery concepts and chemistries, that's another reason to do this.
And apart from battery management, of course, what we need also is batteries. And this is the key example we have when it comes to working together with a battery manufacturer when it comes to battery cells. And this is Northvolt, a Swedish startup that Scania invested in early a few years ago, and when our Volkswagen Group has come in and also invested. And of course, the advantage of working with Northvolt here is that we can not only secure availability of battery cells, which will be a shortage the coming 5-6 years at least, and it's also that we can, together with this player, we can start to develop tailor-made cells eventually that are more tailored for commercial vehicles than passenger cars as it is today. So here, of course, we will see a lot of cooperation coming through. There's a team from Northvolt out here in the exhibition. Please go and visit them, talk to them, listen to what they have to say. I think the cooperation here is very tight, and I think we will be able to learn a lot here. It's also not only about the battery cells, it's also about how do we put these cells together in modules. Here in the TRATON Group, we can cooperate that and make sure that we try to standardize on module size, which is a number of cells then, and then the modules we put into a battery pack, and that can be like here in the floor. That's one pack, and it could be on the side of the vehicles, and of course there we have a lot of work to be done as well, apart from all the electrical components. I think with that we're starting to wrap up our session here. I think we can say that we also use software in, of course, a number of areas where we try to develop not only our hardware, our services, but also our business models. We mentioned before the Smart Factory Lab. I know that in MAN we have also a
digital lab.
We also have done Rio, who you will be able to meet outside, which is a company with a business model based on more advanced logistical solutions. Andreas mentioned a cooperation with Volkswagen Concern Logistik before, but they have much more to offer. And of course also we have out in exhibition Sender, which is a startup that started a few years ago and today is Europe's biggest digital freight forwarder platform for full truckloads. So, and they are growing dramatically and in good speed. So I think all of this together, what we're doing on the software and system side, both in our products when it comes to the ACE technologies and when it comes to our business models, is just showing the importance of this subject today and how that drives innovation. I think with that, we stop and we open up for a few questions. If there are any.
If there are any questions.
Yes.
We have one in the back. I'll go all the way back. Or maybe you can pause it. Let's see if I can stretch. Good.
Thank you. I've got a question on the autonomous topic. So Volkswagen, your parents, made a massive investment in Argo AI, which is a company in which it's co-invested with Ford. And I think that 2.6 billion or whatever it is that they put in is significantly bigger than the kind of resource that you're able to throw at your own autonomous efforts. And given that I think, in theory, you should have access to that technology, I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned it in your presentation. Is that because you don't have full access to it, or is it that it's longer dated, or just completely different? What's the rationale?
Should you answer that one? Yeah.
Of course, we will look what the group is doing, and of course we are in close cooperation with Volkswagen on these areas. And Argo is of course one alternative, and there is maybe a handful of platforms that we can use globally that I think all manufacturers of cars and heavy commercial vehicles will eventually be depending on as part of this stack, this multi-layer stack to provide an autonomous vehicle. Part of that stack will be outside suppliers, part of it will be the TRATON Group, and part of it will be unique MAN or Scania sort of layers. But of course we are looking at that because, I mean, the amount of money you need to invest in this sort of basic platform that you are talking about, like the Argo, there will probably in the world only eventually be less than this. So we are all depending on that and waiting on it. But how quick things will go and when that will come into play, how much that will be focused on passenger car and how much that will sort of apply to the commercial vehicles, it's a little bit too early to say. But we have a great advantage of being part of the bigger family when it comes to not only electrification, but also when it comes to autonomous. So it's a good point.
Yeah. And for sure we will have partners in this area because, as we said, this is an enormous investment and an enormous development effort.
Okay. More questions now? Otherwise the bus is leaving if you want to go and see the AXL live.
We haven't already done it.
If you haven't done it. Otherwise, any more questions? Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for your attention. And we are available here at the scene if you want to talk with us in private.
Innovation is made by people working together to create the best possible solutions, not only internally, but above all, with customers and partners.
So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roberto Cortes. I am the member of the TRATON board and also CEO of Volkswagen Truck and Bus. And joining me in this section is David Holgren. David.
Hi, Roberto.
Hi.
I work at MAN, Head of Engineering Central. But I'm not here only because I work at MAN. I'm actually one of the fortunate guys in our group who has worked not only for one of our proud brands, but for two. I worked for Scania and MAN, and I've also done 3 years at TRATON group level. And what I've learned during these years is to be passionate about people and collaboration. That's why I love being here. But it's not only the two of us. We also have Sofia Wahlne from Scania here.
Yes. Hello everyone, I'm Sofia from Scania, working with labor relations and people sustainability among others.
So the three of us, can you hear me well? Hello, hello? Can you hear me very well? So the three of us, David, Sofia and myself, are going to guide you through the section People and Collaboration. So today, as business moves to an increasing rate with everyday challenge and new things, work in isolation may put companies and individuals at a big disadvantage. In contrast, strong collaboration will lead to innovative and positive changes. And at TRATON, we are eager to collaborate in all fields of our business. This means collaboration with customer, and Andreas Renschler mentioned this, and Levin, also that we would touch on that. Collaboration with partners, that can be a supplier or a partner, strategic partner of the TRATON Group. And not less important is collaboration within the group, across function and brand-specific borders. So let me start with the collaboration with customer. The TRATON brands collaborate closely with their customers. The customer needs and also their vision have a major impact on how we develop cost-centric innovations and how we deliver tailor-made product solutions. Just, for instance, like we do with Ambev, which is a customer of us for almost 25 years. And during all this period, we have had always big interactions, try to understand and try to produce the most efficient truck for the beverage and beer delivery application, and consider the 25 years that we have our partnership. That proves that the only way of keeping such a long-term partnership is really listening to the customer needs, in this case Ambev, and develop the products exactly the way you guys want, and turn this into the most efficient way in terms of return. For those that don't know, and that's my opinion, cost is an obsession for Ambev, like is with us, so that's also a common vision, and also our company looking for always a sustainable future. And in order to talk a little bit about this partnership and tell about our cooperation, I would like to invite to the stage Patrick Miller, which I already addressed some words in the beginning. He's the Vice President of Global Innovation Procurement at Ambev. Please, Patrick.
Thank you.
And I would also like to invite Bernardo from Ambev Brazil, which is in which is in our daily interaction on have always a win-win business solution for both of us. We are bringing to this Innovation Day a real example of a good partnership, which is the e-delivery, which is, like I said, is a consequence of this 25 years experience. And just take the opportunity. Maybe we see the film first about the e-delivery. There is no sound.
It's only in here.
It's on the...
O pessoal achava que, tipo assim, antigamente era um protótipo, era um brinquedo. Hoje não, hoje é a realidade, entendeu? Hoje é o futuro que está aqui presente aqui com nós, aqui no caso.
Muito curioso isso. E um caminhão que não faz barulho nenhum, eu achei bem interessante, viu? Energia limpa, renovado, então adorei.
Nessa unidade, temos placas de energia solar e com essa captação, garantimos que toda a energia que abastece o caminhão seja energia renovável.
It's really great to drive an electric commercial vehicle because there is no noise. It's always be a surprise if people are watching you, so it's a fantastic vehicle.
So ask again Patrick and Bernardo just to, as you can see, this is a vehicle that is already in the real application, was tested by everybody, including Mr. Renschler, that he was in Brazil and had a chance to drive. And then I would ask you just to elaborate a little bit on our common values and the way we do business. And
yeah, maybe I can start, and then Bernardo.
No, you have it.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I think what is common. Obviously, I haven't been around for the last 25 years, but what I've heard and what I understand and what I'm seeing right now is very much a common values and common culture, which is of course essential for this partnership and this particular project. So I think it's very much about, as I said earlier, not being complacent and always, strive for continuous improvement. The next thing, take bold steps and not be afraid to take giant leaps into the future. I think also we share this passion about really going the extra mile to understand the needs, outspoken or not outspoken, of customers and consumers. And I think it's only then when you can start to customize a solution for those customers. I think that's clearly something that Volkswagen, under yourself, and TRATON has done very well to be able to keep and strengthen a relationship with Amber for so many years. It is to go that extra mile, not wait for us to come to you with specific requests, but be there on the daily side, engage with us proactively, and really understand where we are going as a business and what challenges we are facing in our marketplace with our customers, with our consumers. And then, of course, having understood that, bringing us in, having the guts or the trust in us to also bring us in your creative processes and work with you to find the right customized solutions. I think that goes a long way.
Good, Patrick. And before Bernardo, just to tell you that for us it's an honor to have a partnership with a company like InBev and Bev, and you have a great value for us.
That's great to hear. And likewise, we really value the partnership we have with you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bernardo?
Just to add what Patrick said, the part of the collaboration with Volkswagen is a historic movement that we have 25 years, as you said. And the point of the project, and I'm especially personally grateful about the project, is that we saw in Volkswagen, and you guys saw us, the premise to share a dream and share a goal, and we could be transparent as the point that share cost and share, as Patrick said, the risk of a project at such magnitude. So I want to thank you for the invitation, thank you to be here, and thank for the truck as well. That's going to be a legacy for the future, definitely.
So you see a Brazilian company think on a electrified solution for a product, work with a Brazilian engineer. That's make us Brazilian very proud of this collaboration. Thanks for the InBev Corporation for the trust that you give to us, Brazilian.
Of course, that's where it all started. So I think No, I think that it's a very important pilot project for us. We're watching it not only from within Ambev, but from within the whole group, yeah. And we count on it to be a success, and we will throw resources at the project, not only from Ambev, but from other parts of the group to make sure it is a success together with you, to be able to scale it as quickly as possible to within Brazil, but also to other geographies around the world.
So a big responsibility on us, Bernard, to make it happen.
It's a shared responsibility.
As
that's
usual.
That's a good thing about the project is we had the commitment last year to share the responsibility to make the TCO equivalence with the diesel truck. So that's the great place. That's a good thing that we are doing, and the meetings that we have to make the action plan to actually do it. That's great.
And let's together be the example for the rest of the world.
Yes.
Have
That's
it
what
the same.
on. For sure.
So very, very much. Thank you very much for the words. And thanks for being with us here. Way down from Brazil and from
Switzerland.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Okay. So now, David, I understand that you also have good examples.
Yes.
For collaboration.
Thank you for this example. I've grown up in companies like this, and customer focus is always essential. But it's never as essential as when we're challenged that the game is changing. And that's why I liked an example like Ambev, where we're actually together with the customer exploring the future needs in a technology area which is quickly changing. Because only if we do this together in partnership, we can be fast enough to meet the needs of the market, of the legislation, and of the climate. Now we have some other good examples in the group, and I will mention at least two of them. 3 years ago at the IAA, MAN introduced their e-truck concept. And it didn't take long, actually a couple of months, until we declared a partnership and a collaboration with the Council of Sustainable Logistics in Austria, CNL. Now, the CNL consists of 18 Austrian large companies in the sectors of production, retail, and logistic services. Since last year, we have 9 ETGMs, electric trucks based on the MAN TGM platform, up and running in daily operations. Right now, they have accumulated more than 150,000 kilometers in real operations. And this is where I think it's essential to have a partner. To develop this in a lab or in a prototype or on a test track will only get you this far. To do this in real operation with the customer is essential when the technology is groundbreaking and game-changing. Of course, the big benefit for us and our customers are that this is not only 9 trucks out there, it's also all the knowledge we're gathering together with the drivers and together with the companies that we put into the future development of our series solutions. Now, switching to new technology is a challenge. The difficult part is not going out there and buying an electric bus. Of course, it will cost you a bit more money, but it's still technology. What's really tricky is to put this into operations. What do you really need to change in your business the day you start to operate e-vehicles? At MAN, we have the MAN Transport Solutions to help the customer with this. We don't only want to sell the product anymore. We don't only want to improve the product. We also want to optimize the process of the customer to be able to use and tap into the possibilities of new technology. There are 3 keys in this. One of them is to do it close to the customer. The second is to make sure to identify the needs together with the customer. We have to define them together because it's new both to the customer and to us. If we look at diesel technology, we had it for 100 years more, and most of us know what's necessary to take the next small steps. But with new technology, it's a blank sheet of paper, also for the customers. And the third key is to be able to offer tailor-made solutions. We cannot ask of the customer to change their complete way of working because we have new technology. We have to make sure the new technology fits the needs of our customer businesses. One example of this is the collaboration between MAN and the Swiss Post. Just a couple of months ago, in the end of June, MAN actually delivered 9 ETGEs to the Swiss Post. These were ETGEs optimized to meet the tough requirements of Swiss Post parcel delivery. That means they were equipped with the rear cameras, the park steer assist, side impact protection, and so on. Key in doing this is not only delivering these products, it's for MAN Transport Solutions to step in and do an inventory and to do an analysis of what is necessary in order to make this operation successful. What is necessary in form of energy? What ranges can you expect? Where do you need your charging infrastructure? How do you optimize this for the local conditions in different areas, and how do you optimize this for the different hubs and depots in their network? In doing this, the Swiss Post got not only a comprehensive overview of how they could electrify their fleet, but they of course also achieved targets on significant savings in energy consumption and CO2 emissions. If you want to know more about these things, you can also visit the Innovation Expo after and in between the sessions.
So what works well with collaboration with customer also is key for collaboration with suppliers, even though on a different level. I would like to ask for a short video that we are going to show something that we are implementing as we speak. It's the so-called e-consórcio modular. The video, please.
Usually, you wouldn't find partners and suppliers here. But we are different. Siemens, Bosch, WEG, Semcon, Cattle, and Mura. This is where collaboration once started, and it was just the beginning.
So as you may know, at the Resende plant in Brazil, Volkswagen Caminhões e Ônibus practice a very special way of collaborating with the suppliers. The concept makes supplier partners and part of the production chain. They not only deliver our components, but they actually install them right on our vehicle. This enables a high flexibility production process and minimize the fixed cost. And we at Volkswagen Caminhões e Ônibus, our employees get a chance to concentrate on other focus like quality assurance, sales and service, understand the customer needs, and above all, develop new products for their requirements. Building on this consortium modular production system, we are going to take a step above. We go to the next level with what we are announcing today here is the e-consortium modular. It's a world premiere for an e-mobility ecosystem with a completely new business model. The e-consortium bringing new partners to the production and to the development of the e-vehicles, and put suppliers together to collaborate in an innovative new business model, which includes not only the production like we have today, but the e-consortium start with the development of the product together, producing, selling, charging, and provide the infrastructure for electric mobility. This is a primal example for the best possible collaboration, the huge advantage to our customer. And just like you saw in the video, we have in the components supplier development already select some partners or suppliers that we call partners like CATL, a Chinese company, and Moura is a battery company, a Brazilian company, which are responsible for distribution, management, and maintenance of the battery packs. So this is also being disclosure today, those partners. On the component side, we have Bosch, we have WEG is a Brazilian electric engine producer, international one, and the second is an engineering company which will, together with us, be responsible for develop and supply the components. And as an infrastructure base, we have selected as a partner Siemens, which will provide the charging infrastructure and the equipment and the supply electric energy to the client. So, in other words, we have a new ecosystem for electric that will provide what more than just the product for our clients. And first results are the two cars that we have here, and you will have a chance to drive them, which are developed under this consortium modular, and also is going to be produced in this consortium modular production concept. And like I said, those two products are here available for you to drive. And that's not all. The products that we have here are equipped with those components, but I am equally proud to announce that we also have here a 4-ton delivery, so it's a low entry delivery powered with a TRATON partnership supplier, Hino, like was mentioned, is a concept vehicle that shows how flexible our products can be. Depending on the components, we can have group components or supplier components power the vehicle. You also can see this concept product at the Innovation Expo. So David, you also have other collaboration initiatives, for instance at Scania, to share with you, right?
Yeah, if we take a step back from talking about the products, you have a very great product and setup, Roberto. But we can take one step back and talk a bit more about the details on partnership. When we talk about partnership, it's always easy to think about the old style partners and suppliers, the Bosch and the Siemens of the world. And they are great partners and we need them in our ecosystem. But let's not forget that when technology is changing, there's also room for young initiatives and innovations and entrepreneurs. And this is of a very high interest for a group such as TRATON. We want to also be an incubator for these companies and these technologies. Scania is taking a leading role in this area. One of several ideas used by Scania is to invest in startups that in one way or another support the shift to sustainable transport systems. This can be ventures that are actually challenging our industry, ventures that have the potential to, with technology or business models, disrupt our industry. Scania Growth Capital is a corporate venture capital fund aimed at young growth companies, startups, but it's not only about investing, it's also about providing a network, an ecosystem in which to collaborate and get more forward motion. And it's also about sharing the unique and extensive industry knowledge we have in the TRATON Group. Today you have the possibility to meet some of these young talents and entrepreneurs in the Innovation Expo. Go there and be inspired.
So far we have been focused on collaboration with customers and clients or suppliers, sorry. Let's now have a look on how TRATON sets new standards regards to internal co-working. Working together internally and internationally is far more than sharing knowledge or exchange ideas. It's a matter of acceptance, each other personality, learning from each other, and to a certain degree adapt to each other mindset. I'm excited to invite Sofia to the stage now to share her experience and expertise with that respect. Sofia, please welcome.
Thank you, Roberto. So, in order to stay successful or become successful as the global champion, we know we need to be diverse when it comes to products, we need diverse services, and we need diversity in business models. And to do all of that, of course, we need diversity in people. It's essential that we grow our ability to capture the skills of all the people in our group and to really leverage on the collective intelligence that we have. So when TRATON Group was created, it was from proud brands, from different cultural contexts, and with different corporate cultures. And if we are going to be successful, we need to be excellent at making the best out of these differences, using it to go forward. And I can't resist, David, I know you've been working in Scania and in MAN and in TRATON. What is your experience from merging cultures?
As anyone understands, it can be extremely challenging to merge cultures. And it's not about that some of us like to wear lederhosen and drink beer. It's much more difficult than that.
Or eat feet.
Even though I actually like lederhosen and beer as well. I'm learning this at MAN. But it's much more about the way we think. We started out in this collaboration talking about what do we want to do together? How can we bring benefit to the customer in the best way? And then we started discussing how do we do this? But when we really get successful is when we start talking about how we think. Because this is where we can join forces and we can combine our strengths and think the same way. And that's good for our customers.
Great, thanks a lot. Sounds good. So, in order to achieve this to a higher extent, we are totally committed to what we call pluralism and inclusion. Now, pluralism is a term not often used in this context, but it's carefully chosen by us to signal that we mean, of course, gender and nationality when we talk about diversity and pluralism, but we also mean cognitive skills, personality, different educational backgrounds. So we mean something much bigger than what diversity is usually meant. But we also underline inclusion. Without inclusion, we don't benefit from diversity. Inclusion for us means creating psychological safety, enabling everyone to participate as they really are. And this is a super important thing for us. We are developing many different modules, also in this context, to take this from theory to practice. And we are doing this to a very high extent to be really good at relating to customer needs, understanding customer needs, and being good partners in collaboration. And here, Patrick from InBev, if I may ask you, could you just share with us what is valuable from your perspective when you choose collaboration partners?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. I think I alluded to it a little bit before. I think if you strive to take the collaboration to the next level, it goes beyond the table stakes of quality, reliability, and service. It requires you to kind of show the leap of faith in terms of opening up your operations, your ways of working, and your practices to us as a customer. But also, as I said earlier, for you to kind of really show an active and proactive and continuous interest in our emerging needs, but also in the emerging needs of our customers, because it's changing, and it's changing very, very fast. So I think that's a key word: transparency, trust, working together, proactive engagement, and really show an interest in what we do, to take that back. And then once we understand that together, how do we go about it together? And how can we be part of your creative processes? Because you have lots of great capabilities. We have lots of great capabilities. But I think together, it's only when we mold it together that we can really excel. Yeah, I think in the project we're working on together here in Brazil, we also bring things to the party. Of course, we understand or should understand the applications better and work with you on that. But there are also other components like energy. I think we're managing energy globally. It's critical for us from a sustainability and cost perspective. So I think also there we can contribute, and probably many other areas as well. So it's about openness and collaboration.
Great, thanks a lot. And this also underlines another big difference that we are, because we are convinced that this is, I think we come from a history where pluralism and inclusion was a compliance topic. We did it not to discriminate. We did it to follow rules and regulations. But what we are convinced in TRATON is that this is also a critical aspect of being successful. And it's underlined with what you are saying, Patrick, I think, that we need to be able to relate, cooperate, and really include everyone in order to cooperate well. It's of course also a culture and mindset change journey that we are embarking on. So it's super important for us to include all of the colleagues in the TRATON Group and also customers and partners of all kinds on our journey to become better in this. It's also, of course, the skill capture perspective overall. By using the collective intelligence of all of the colleagues and partners, obviously we are going to become much more successful in this. Taking it then from theory to practice, because this is really something we work intensely with in the group. We have developed, as I said, many different modules. The biggest one is called Skill Capture, which is a workshop concept that we do with all the managers in the group. They look into their business future and see what kind of abilities do they need in pluralism and inclusion. From this, they then analyze the current state. And then, from a gap analysis, they take decisions on local actions to be implemented straight away. Through this, we create a wave of nudges, you could say. So change happens everywhere, and it's super important because to us this is an iterative journey which is followed intensely by track board and brand boards, where we are constantly monitoring and continuing to develop. We also have something developed in MAN called the MAN Skill Capture for Inclusive Leadership, which is aiming at supporting managers to really become good at creating psychological safety and including people as they are to really become creative and innovative. We are also developing something that I'm really looking forward to, which is a project team skill capture kickoff. When we do cross-brand projects, or even when we do partnership work, we really want to enhance the cooperation from the start. Just would like to share with you a concrete example that came from a Scania commercial unit. They did the Skill Capture Lab and they decided that they would like to open up for all the colleagues in this unit to take skill tests of different kinds. The top scorer for numerical skills in this commercial unit was actually a person at the time working as a receptionist. So with some support in developing these skills, this person is now working in the finance department. And that's, I think, a really good example of finding talent in unexpected places and really making a use of that. So, as someone said recently, it's not always easy. I think it was you, David. It is challenging at times. We are different, but that's the point. We want to make use of the difference. And by becoming really successful in that, I think we will stay successful in a rapidly changing business environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sofia, for sharing these insights with us and also for sharing some of the tools and concepts we're using to make this work. Roberto, what she's sharing opens up some new possibilities for us on how to work together efficiently, right?
That's right. And Sofia, thanks for sharing with us your experience. The good thing is that we have a TRATON Group, very good talent, and David, and I know that you have something to tell about how we work together with this to develop this group talent. Please, David.
Yes, we are working multi-brand, multinationally in this group, and of course, that has some of the problems mentioned already, but one quite special challenge is how do we bring together the talents? How do we bring together and challenge the talents in a group like this so we can get a forward momentum and develop ourselves as a group? The answer to that is our group talent development programs. The strategy is threefold. We want to ensure visibility of key talents across the brands. The second is to make sure that we have a structured way of exchanging these talents across the brands. It's not enough to stay in one brand. You need to develop also across the brands. And third, and not least, is to impart the skills that are critical for being a global champion. Now, these programs, they target top talents on many different levels in the company, in the group. Always with group perspective in focus. It's important that we impart our key talents in the brands also with a perspective of group. Group before brand. That's how we become successful together. We need to build a skill set focused on cross-brand cooperation. This is in the end not only about developing people, even if that's important. It's also about developing and extending a global network for cooperation within the group.
Okay, David, we are approaching the end of this section, and I hope that we could pass to you that TRATON is eager to collaborate in all fields of our business. We brought here some example on how we collaborate with our key customers. With the e-consortium modular announcement, it's also another example how we collaborate with partners and with everything that was said here, for instance, the Rhino components, how we collaborate with the groups. And also how important are the people in our organization, and I think that's also gives us an example how we treat people. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and now we are open for questions and most likely answers. Thank you.
If anyone has a question, raise your hand and you will be handed a microphone.
Vocês podem fazer pergunta em português que eu traduzo se for preciso. I just said that they can ask in Portuguese myself, Bernard and Rodrigo, we translate to the others.
Já aqui.
Você ajuda, Bernard?
Oi? Ah, tá. Okay. So I'm Paula, I'm from Brazil, and I wanted to ask Cortez. So you're joining like a Brazilian company, European company. Since we're talking about diversity, how was this process of merging Brazilian and European company in trucking?
The big advantage is that we have alternatives. You know very well our production concept, which we depend a lot on the Brazilian suppliers, on the engines, on the transmissions, and so on. And now we have a much bigger selection options within the group. It was mentioned here that sooner we are going to have engines, a new generation of 13-liter engine, which will also benefit from that. You have the example of the Rhino powertrain, which is also an option, and for us, it's the best of the world. You can choose what is best for the customer, what is the best for cost-wise and for synergy.
I think this is also an area where the rest of us can learn from Volkswagen Caminhões and Ônibus, because you have a long-standing relationship already with MAN, so it's not new, and with Volkswagen, and you also are used to making a lot of customer benefit out of a limited portfolio and sharing knowledge within and outside the group.
That's correct.
And that's a role model for also the rest of the companies in this group.
Oi, Cortez, é o Márcio aqui da Autodata. Cortez, a minha pergunta é a seguinte, ainda dentro dessa questão de como gerenciar esse consórcio elétrico, tá? Você mesmo falou aí agora da parceria com a Hino, que é uma empresa japonesa, se não me engano, não é isso? Na IAA do ano passado a gente já tinha o e-delivery com motor elétrico da Scania, e você está colocando a WEG para operar lá no Brasil. Como é que vai ser o gerenciamento dessa coisa? Qual vai ser o papel da WEG dentro da tua fábrica, por exemplo?
So, Marcio, this show how flexible our products are. So we have developed, and Rodrigo, come here, which was the father of this model, a totally flexible product which we can use, for instance, Vega engine or P160 from the group or from the Hino. So what we have today in the Consortium Modular is WEG engine, and what we have here is a concept to show that we can be flexible.
Exactly. We have today in the morning presentation where it was presented the TRATON modular kit. You may benefit by using different components, but you have to safeguard that in the architecture the interface will be the same. And if you make a kind of analogy with the Lego piece, they have a standards interface where we can pick, choose, and plug, and the system will work properly. We are making the integration in this way to take the best of all of the worlds. Now we can leverage from the cost from a supplier that's local established, that can bring a good value proposition and also can run with the maintenance. And also having the interface where we can adapt the components in the truck without needing to start a new development on that.
Deixa eu complementar a pergunta. A WEG ela vai montar qualquer tipo de motor que vocês produzirem no Brasil? Se vocês produzirem um caminhão para importar, o motor da Hino, vai ser a WEG que vai ser responsável por colocar esse motor da Hino dentro do caminhão?
Those are two different things. One is the partner we have in the supply of components, and WEG today is selected as the provider of the engine, but does not automatically says that they are going to be the producer of engine. This we are still discussing on the assembly who will be responsible, because we can also have motor, for instance, assemble everything from the battery until all the electrification. We are still defining that. One thing is clear, WEG is, and the Ambev truck, the 1600 will be powered with WEG electric engine.
Okay, our time is up. If you have any further questions, you're welcome to approach any of us between the sessions.
Thank you for the attention.
Thank you.